You guys remember me? Do any of you remember me? I'm sure there's a couple of you guys out there who do. For those of you who don't have any idea who the hell this old geezer is, I made this video for a brief introduction for what you can expect next year at Fulda Gap. Now, I am going to use my real name once in this video. It was the last time you're going to hear it from me, because when you see me on the field, that guy doesn't exist. I will be somebody totally different. My name is Dave Brathwaite. For a number of years, I was a fixture at Fulda Gap. I did performance art or LARPing, whatever you want to call it. I was Comrade Smirnov. I was the political officer, chief propagandist for the Soviet forces at the Fulda Gap airsoft event. Now, I play, the way I do airsoft, I do it a little different. And I've said it before, I've said it in the past. You can ask folks who were around back in the day, Thumpy Covey, Moses, those guys. My game's a little different. I'm not playing the same game you are. I'm playing a head game. And I'm going to continue to play a head game. Now, I was gone for a few years, so let me explain to you why I haven't been around. I started doing overseas contracting work. At least 5 years of 5 years in and out of doing that. I married again, had kids. At some time or another, you have to quit playing kid yourself and you have to be a dad. At this point in my life, by the time we hit next year's Fulda Gap, my kids are going to be 11 and 12, and they're going to be there with me. And in the meantime, we had started another airsoft team up here in Virginia, Team ZOV. Well, actually, two airsoft teams. Team ZOV, which is a modern Russian themed airsoft team. We also have a alternate reality team that we call Azov, which is based off the Ukrainian extremist I won't say the word, unit that exists in the Ukrainian army today. We have we do have a alternate impression where we do that. Anyhow, we got those guys together, and we'd actually considered coming out to Fulda Gap this past weekend, and we did not. We decided a few months ago that we just weren't ready. We didn't have everything where we wanted. And there were all sorts of little details. Well, instead, while you guys were at Fulda Gap, we had a training weekend where we started putting a few more ducks in the row over in West Virginia. And we decided that next year, Fulda Gap, we are going to be there. And I will be reprising my role as Smirnov. Now, a few things about Smirnov. Why was it so easy for me to quit doing Smirnov for a while? Well, when I stopped doing Smirnov, there were several warning signs from the community. It was time for me to stop doing Smirnov. I was having guys PM me back on the old forums and other places, and they were starting to agree with Smirnov. Smirnov likes to argue historical facts. He cherry picks. He decides where he wants to go, and then he simply builds a bridge to get there. In other words, I figure out what argument I want to make, and then I work it in reverse. And I didn't realize how convincing it was, and at the time there was a lot of weird stuff going on. I had guys actually starting to agree with what Smirnov was saying. Plus, there was also the whole rise of Antifa in the United States. Now, I may be a lot of things. A communist is not one of them. Now, I pretend to be a communist. I play a communist at the games. That's who I am. I don't mind being the bad guy. I remember when I was in service, I really enjoyed being Op 4. I enjoyed being the bad guy. Just something I do. I'm good at it. And I decided it was time to take a break, because it really got to be to where it was on my conscience that some of the guys were not understanding and thought that I was a no good, godless communist heathen. And I may be a heathen, but I'm not a communist. You can call me a lot of things. A communist for real, it's a little beyond me. It's not where I want to be in life. So I took a break. Wasn't sure whether I was going to come back to airsoft. In fact, a lot of my guns, I had a bunch of AKs and Dragunovs and stuff. A bunch of that stuff has set dormant for a number of years. So we pulled everything out, started checking over, got the guns back in working order. I actually went out and bought an Arcturus AK-12 when I started playing again. And it's been interesting to see where the hobby's evolved, what has got better, what has got worse in the number of years. So we will be out at Fall to Gap 2023. Now, my former brothers in the Siberian Cossacks, I haven't forgot you guys. And I know that you kind of have been on your own for a few years. I know a few of you guys are doing British a lot. So any of you guys, Hobbs, Devo, Ben, you know, all you guys, you want to come out and hang out, we'll put the band back together for a bit. So when you see me at Fall to Gap, it's okay to hate me. It's okay to hate me. In fact, one of the greatest memories of any of the Fall to Gaps in the past, for some reason, I don't even remember the reason, I had to go up on stage. Now, I brought my wife with me to Fall to Gap. My wife, for those of you guys who don't know, is real Russian from a town in Siberia. And I had to go up on stage. She stayed out in the crowd. And while I am up on stage, she listened to what was going around. And I came off stage, and for whatever reason, like I said, I don't remember why I was up there. And she goes, "Oh my God." I said, "What?" She goes, "These people hate you." And I said, "Really? Cool." You know, because it meant that I was doing a good job as coming off as somebody that you are allowed to hate. And they did hate. And that was cool. That was cool. But having some of these guys, I'm really worried about a lot of these younger guys getting the wrong idea about communism from a guy who hates communism pretending to be a communist. So that's all cooled down for a couple of years, and I'm back out, and I'm ready to support the Warsaw Pact any way possible next year. Like I said, I will be bringing bodies with me. Team ZOV is making this a priority, and you know, I've made several veiled threats to return to the hobby. I've never sat down and made a video, and I don't know how much longer airsoft's going to be around. I'll be honest with you. I see political stuff, wargaming is getting frowned upon, all that. I want my kids to experience. I want my kids to experience Fall to Gap, and but don't think that this is just going to be Smirnov the dad bringing out the Smirnovs the youngers to play airsoft. No. I'm going to step it up. In fact, working on a few new things that have not been seen before. So, if you guys meet Smirnov in the future next year and you think he's an asshole, well, thank you. And some of you old guys who remember me from back in the day, man, you're more than welcome to stop by and say hey. We'll chat a bit, reminisce about old times. But that's the deal, guys. So you've got a brief 10-minute introduction into Smirnov. And I haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg. There used to be massive propaganda wars, the old North Carolina forums. I set that place on fire numerous times. Ask somebody about the reactive armor on the airsoft BMPs that were going to negate all the AT weapons that NATO was building one year. I mean, that the forums just totally devolved. And I would just, I posted a picture of myself at a military museum that I work with a couple of BMPs, and I said I was bringing them to Fall to Gap, and we were putting reactive armor on them so their Nerf rockets wouldn't work. Oh my Lord, and I had them believing it. In fact, it was so bad, people were calling Ferg, and yes, Ferg, I apologize, but it was fun anyhow. they were calling Ferg, demanding that he do something about Smirnov bringing BMPs to the field. Now, of course, it didn't happen, and Smirnov is a master bullshitter. But it was great. It was fantastic, and I want to revisit a little bit of that. So, yep, this video is going up. I may even take it down in a week or two, just because I gave a heads up to you folks who hang out here and see what's going on. And maybe some of the new guys don't really need to know all that I'm telling you, but I do want to broach it for the guys who are hardcore. I mean, it's easy after a big event like Fulda Gap. It's easy a week after the battle, as we're approaching a week after your all's event. It's easy for guys to drop off the face of it and forget about it to next year. And so you guys who've hung on, and you guys who are checking to see if there's any pictures of you and seeing what people were doing with the after action reviews and all that, hey, you get a little insight into who I am and what I'm doing. And I don't even know the state of things, but I will tell you one thing: the guys coming down from ZOV are going to try to do a Soviet Army of the 80s. We're going to do the equipment, the weapons, the whole 9 yards best we can, and that's the cool thing. Even if we don't get exactly 1980s, we will have Soviet uniforms. And we are going to add a dimension that has possibly been lacking. Like I said, I haven't been doing Fulda Gap, so I don't know what the state of everything is. And I don't expect everybody to come out and do period kit for this. It's expensive. It's a pain in the ass. And dude, if you're just out there to sling BBs, and dude, there's a lot to be said for that. You don't need the extra headache for added kit. But anyhow, I'm Smirnov, and look for you guys in Warsaw Pact to be digging it, and looking for you guys in NATO to be hating it. So anyhow, folks, y'all take care, and I will see you down the road.